So to start with, let's have a quick glimpse of what happened in the past couple of years. We have gone through different changing times from very crowded and loud party places, also kind of office places, to very quiet roads. The office meetings moved almost online, and the parties also kind of moved towards the online section. And again, we are moving back to the pre-pandemic, or you may call it post-pandemic for some time, where we are going to the crowded streets again, crowded office spaces again, and all of this, right? So it's a quick glimpse. We have all gone through it, but I think what I would wish to talk about is a little bit of intervention of how pandemic played an important role while we moved towards a better economy. Now, what happened post-pandemic suddenly, right? While pandemic, there was a sense of insecurity that whether recession will come over, whether we'll have enough jobs, whether the current jobs will be sustained or not. And suddenly, post-pandemic, we see that this is like a business like never before scenario, right? It's outsourcing from different countries. All the global organizations want to outsource more towards the low cost countries, and that is primarily to save the margins and again build the sustainability for which they have lost during the pandemic, right? So then we started moving towards this high blend economy, more work, more talent acquisition, more people to get onto the jobs, and so on and so forth. We all saw this as an opportunity. Every business saw this as an opportunity, and we wanted to grab with both the hands and probably a couple of extra hands also. So what happened after this, right? What we failed to think while we looked at the brighter picture was, what's the trade-off, right? And then while we looked at, if you kind of deep dive, which came as an experience over a period of time, the trade-offs were gig economy, yeah, recruit faster, then focus on building more and more talent because your recruitment engine is not as fast as the business growth seems like, and end of it, keep buying talent at a much higher cost and with a much higher maintenance cost as well. Result, very clearly, it was a high SG&A cost. So the top line started growing. At least it showed very bright symptoms to kind of grow. But at the same time, the SG&A cost, the general sales and administration cost also kind of started increasing. No news to us, but this led to the great resignation. We all have gone through the talent crunch. We are already going through. Some organizations made peace with it. Some found a way ahead to at least resolve the problem 50 or 60%, if not 100, and we are moving on with it, right? What next from here? This is where we are. So again, going back to the same scenario, we know, if I'm from India and I can talk a little bit about India, is like when we saw this outsourcing boom coming in, experts anticipated that we will move to a GDP of 31% in a quarter, and very closely and rightfully so, because we moved to a 28% GDP increase in the first quarter post-pandemic, and a large base of it again accounted to the knowledge industry that most of us are part of, and which of course build the scalability or expenditure power for the normal people, giving boost to other side of the industries, be it automobile, be it loans, be it banking, and so on and so forth. And this happened globally. It probably started somewhere in India because we saw that boom coming in. But the talent crunch is global. And the businesses always wanted to take the max share from the table while they saw all those opportunities. They started defining the ladder, right? And the first step to that ladder clearly was to acquire more and more talent. Because if you have the right set of talent, you can deliver things on time with quality, customers are happy, you can sustain, you can grow, all that happens, right? But was that enough? Maybe, maybe not. So the immediate quick fix that most of the businesses went through were like, add more bandwidth to hire people, and this would lead to hiring more HR talent acquisition or recruiters, so to speak, more bandwidth from panels to interview, better assessments so that you can do it faster, and to ensure that when this process is taken care, you are at the right payouts, which in some organizations they would still go with at par the industry standard. However, the industry standard keeps on moving month on month or quarter, and some organizations would position the candidates slightly above. And this has been a problem for organizations like large products to the large players in services. Everybody have gone through it. So what happened after taking all these measures? Did we kind of reduce the dropout ratio? Because that's the measure of problem statement, right? The dropout ratio for most countries in India, at least, it was trending around 20% or 25% pre-pandemic, and post-pandemic, suddenly we saw a surge like 50, 55%. Some smaller or mid-sized organization even spoke about 70%. But largely, I think from an overall shuffling perspective, we saw 50% dropout because there's a big demand-supply gap in terms of talent, and everybody is hiring the same talent. So going back to the results bit of it, did the organization who did all of this could achieve the pre-pandemic numbers? The results would say no. Not even to a scale of like 50% reduction, 10% reduction, or even 5% reduction. The best could manage to get into a market minus 2% level of dropouts. And as a result, the sales and general administration cost just kept on increasing, hitting the margins of the organizations, irrespective of the top line flowing up. So clearly not very sustainable, but for the time being, I think that was one of the best measures to pick up. So then we move to the next part of the story. Yeah? And the $1 million question is how to secure margins. And when the leader would think aloud or think in isolation, I think three pillars would clearly pop up. So these three pillars, as you rightly see, is like analytics, automation, and the use of artificial intelligence. Yeah, looks like a brighter vision. Clearly, yes. You can reap the same benefits year on year. Clearly, yes. Can you just have a system and not upgrade it over a period of time and still expect results? Probably no. And then when these leaders went out and saw the ecosystem around them, then the ecosystems looks like something that is shown on the slide. So you have this Gen Z crowd who are very technology savvy, and they are constantly talking about new ideas, because you're again talking about digitalization, right? So that's the Gen Z idea. You go external to the market and you see this enormous amount of automation tools available, right? And then you're confused which one to pick, which one not to pick, because product-wise, quality-wise, they would go very differently. And then when you want to look at data and analytics to either change your processes or take a better decision, create better swifter decision-making points, so to speak, and then you see this data, which any which ways with a higher scale and which has like no precedence that you can follow a trend, because pre-pandemic, during pandemic, post-pandemic, the world is just shifting. So back then, when a leader would look at a 3 years trend or 2 years trend, by now it's just not possible, because the trend is changing every month or possibly every week. So this is where we are. So how do you what's the eventual derivation? Yeah, the derivation is very clear that the possibilities are infinite. And even if these are the best things to do, with this infinite number of solutions, how to pick up what suits you? Yeah, and that brought me to the to my thought process, and which I'm sharing today with you, and which is vision-led upgradation. So all of you are part of the organization, and the organization is all together at a different phase. So and we spoke about this 3 A's, which is like automation, analytics, artificial intelligence, and let's have a reflection towards 3 E's. And these E's would be experience, effectiveness, and efficiency. And when I say the positioning of that organization, I would say positioning not in terms of your brand, but positioning in terms of where you are in terms of the overall growth. And if I have to show you a quick growth chart, which is like a growth versus time, and growth you can calculate either in terms of revenues, margins, or headcount, the way you wish to, the way your organization would define. It will talk about 3 broad phases. Yeah. So the first phase is like you just started, and the idea is great of your business, and you're growing. You're growing at a faster speed because the acceptability is higher, because your idea is great. The second phase of the growth, a slightly tilted line, not 45-degree anymore, and that's where you talk about how do you make your processes and systems more effective, right? How can you do more with the same set of things that you have acquired in the first phase? And then you come to the third phase, where your organization, as compared to your competition, has really grown. And now growing your top line will not be that easy, at least percentage wise. I mean, when you translate that into absolute dollars, then of course it will look good, or it will look bigger than the organizations in the first phase. Now, if you start dividing these 3 parts of the organization, or these 3 phases, very clearly the first bit is about experience. And since I am from talent acquisition, let me talk about talent acquisition a little bit more. So if I'm part of a smaller organization, and in my career line I have been, so by then it was like hiring at any cost, and the experience has to be higher because people have to talk about us, talk about our brand, get more people or get more customers for the recruitment team, so to speak. So we just continued building on the experience, right? Back then it was more of hospitality, which ensured the right level of experience. But as on today, it's communication, it's transparency, which will build the trust between your consumers and yourself, right? So experience mattered a lot. The second bit, I have also worked for mid-sized organizations. There they wanted, very clear vision is like, we have spent a lot in the first phase. So let's start using what we have already built. And we started building systems in-house. We started building on the process map that we had created since such a long time. Growth was slightly tilted on the lower side, but towards the x-axis, I would say, but still not bad, right? And currently, I think I'm part of a super matured organization with almost 1 lakh employees across the globe. And when we talk about this organization, I think this organization over the past 7.5 years has also evolved. And plus, I'm part of the shared services organization. So shared services is always to ensure that we take the bottom line lower and lower, so that the organization keeps securing more margins. And here we talk a lot about efficiencies. And when we say efficiencies, it is like to do more and more and more with less and less and less. So sometimes your processes mature, you get into a transformation. Okay, you don't need 100 people to do that job. Maybe 90 will do. The next year 85, and so on and so forth. But over a period of time, you hit the rock bottom, right? So because you have to sustain a certain level of quality to maintain the trust that you have built with your consumers. So you really can't go beyond that. And then the triggers would be only to automate, use more of AI, get into the maturity model or get high into the maturity model, and then start saving. It's an endless game for all the organizations, not only for us. So that's where we define it. So once you define in which phase of the growth you are, Then start filtering the ideas of, coming from Gen Z, coming from your, products available in the market, coming from the various data sets that you have built over a period of time, and you know which way you want to upgrade. What are the decisions that you want to take? So, and will that help the organization in that particular phase? And even if you want to make a transition from one phase to another, be extremely, extremely conscious and then filter out what you actually need. You may have a great product available in Amazon, but if you don't need it, then you don't buy it. It is as simple as that, right? So my recommendation would be, you always look at the phase, because you know your funding, because a lot of people, a lot of leaders do talk to me and they tell me that we have this great idea, but we don't have funding. Of course, like, you're part of the organization is funding, and you have to give back the organization, or you have to reciprocate in the same profit level with, as they are trusting you. So that's the job. So think about the product which will best match that particular scenario, and then over a period of time upgrade. Like, AI doesn't happen over time. I have used two of the AI tools. The first one we experimented because we were new, and we kind of looked at what does AI do. So it failed. No qualms in accepting. It was an experiment phase. We tried for 3 months. It didn't work. It failed. We had the learnings. Then we took it to the next level. We went into a global implementation. We evaluated tool at a global level, stating, okay, what next? What do we want more from the system? What would best suit us? And then now the tool that we have, we have a long-term plan with it. It started with experience. It will get into effectiveness, and over a period of time, efficiencies. At least we have paved way for our efficiencies, down the line. So that's how AI would work, because we had a very concrete database to feed. Then again, the AI would learn. It will take some time. We have to get acquainted. We have to upscale our own people, and then move on with the 100% level of utilization. And by that time, we got to upgrade ourselves again, because there will be AI level 2 or 3.0 or version XYZ. So that's the journey. And and the last bit of it, because 15 minutes is not enough to talk about all of it. So few cautionary steps. One, please understand that transformation is a journey. Transformation is not digital. Like, not always you think digital and you can transform, because automation, for a lot of times, it also distorts your own processes, right? So there is some or the other experience which gets damaged. Maybe in talent acquisition context, I can say that you're asking the candidate to fill in more details, which you never needed, because now you want to do more analysis. And you want to get it in an automated way, so that there is a self-certified personal data. Or on the other hand, you want the recruiters to fill in more data at the back end, so the experience of the candidate is seamless. Or you want the hiring managers to make a couple of extra clicks every time they have to go for a selection. So think about it. Automation is not distortion. It's transformation is a journey. Go slow, but at least have a plan. Tryouts, part of upgradation. I just told you about my own story where we tried out an AI tool, we failed, we had our learnings, and we moved on. The third part would be, analyze the vision. Without a vision, as much analysis you do will equate to paralysis, because you will get nowhere. There will be many indicators, many data points, and you got to pave your way towards your vision. Not get disturbed during your journey. And last and the most important bit, talent defines artificial intelligence. So while you want to have a product installed and you want to continuously upgrade, make sure your own people are also upgraded to use that system effectively. If not, then it will not make a match. And the finest of the products have will have the probability to fail faster. Thank you all. Hope this helped you.